The best golfer in the world hasn't won a single major this year. Let that sink in for a second, and because by the time we get to number 1 on this list, you'll understand exactly why he's still there anyway. 3 majors down, a back-to-back Masters champion, a shock winner nobody saw coming, and a guy who trashed a locker room last year now sitting on 2 U.S. Open titles. This is the top 10 golfers of 2026 so far. This isn't just a world ranking dump. We're weighing world ranking points, big tournament results, and the eye test, who's actually been the best golfer on the planet through the Masters, the PGA, and the U.S. Open. Stick around, because number 1 is going to be controversial. Let's get into it. At number 10, we start with a comeback story. Jon Rahm spent a long stretch outside the world's top 10 after LIV. Golf lost its world ranking points, and for a while it looked like the former world number 1 might be stuck in ranking purgatory for good. Think about that for a second. A guy who once held the top spot in the entire sport, who won a U.S. Open and a Masters, dropped all the way down because of a format dispute that had nothing to do with how he was actually playing. But that's over now. Rahm's runner-up finish at the PGA Championship, his best major result since he defected to LIV, was the clearest signal yet that the old Rahm is back.
Easier from that deep bunker. Oh, that's beautiful.
He opened with 2 birdies in the final round at Aronimink, chasing hard all day. And while he came up 3 shots short of Aaron Rai, the way he competed down the stretch looked exactly like the player who used to intimidate fields just by showing up. Add in a strong run on the LIV Golf League individual standings this season, and you've got a player climbing the board fast, not slowly. He's not the guy dominating the leaderboard on Sundays yet in 2026, and he's still got ground to make up to get back to true elite status. But the talent never left, and the results are finally starting to catch up to it. Keep an eye on him heading into the back half of the year. This might be the most dangerous version of Rahm we've seen since he left the PGA Tour. Number 9, Collin Morikawa's game has never been the problem. It's the putter. This is a guy with 2 majors already on his resume. A ball striker so precise that other pros talk about his iron play.
No question, hole location over on the left-hand side, short left. Is he aggressive with it? He is. Look at this. Good call, Steve.
Like it's a different sport. And yet for years now, the story with Morikawa has been the same. Elite tee to green, shaky enough on the greens to keep him from stacking up wins the way his talent suggests he should. Here's the thing though. When the irons are this sharp, you find a way to stay relevant no matter what's happening with the flat stick. Morikawa has quietly strung together one of the more consistent seasons of anyone in the world's top 10 in 2026. No signature win yet this year, no major breakthrough moment, but he's been in the mix far more often than not. Top 20s, top 10s, the kind of steady presence that doesn't always make highlight packages, but absolutely shows up in the ranking points. That's exactly why he's still holding a top 10 world ranking spot heading into the back half of the year. And honestly, if the putter ever clicks for a full week at a major, he's a real threat to jump several spots on this list by the time we update it. Coming in at number 8, nobody has climbed the rankings faster than this man. Wyndham Clark went into the U.S. Open ranked outside the world's top 40. A name most casual fans probably weren't thinking about as a real contender. He left Shinnecock Hills with his 2nd U.S. Open title in 3 years and an entire gallery rooting against him for the whole final round. Let's set the scene, because this one's wild. Clark led wire to wire, becoming just the 9th player in U.S. Open history to do that, and only the first since Martin Kamer back in 2014. He built a 6-shot lead by Saturday and had to protect it through a Sunday where the New York crowd spent the entire day cheering for Scottie Scheffler's mistakes instead of acknowledging Clark's shots. This is a guy who, in the last year, slung a driver into a sponsor sign and trashed a locker room at Oakmont. So the fans clearly hadn't forgotten, and they let him hear it all day. He shot a final round 73 that was far from pretty, full of ugly lies and difficult par saves, but he scrambled his way to victory like it was a survival test, because at Shinnecock, that's exactly what it was. One major keeps changing careers, and Clark's is a completely different story than it was a month ago He went from afterthought to two-time major champion in 4 days. And however you feel about him personally,
came out really nicely up the left side towards a bunker and carried.
that's one of the more remarkable turnarounds we'll talk about all year. At number 7, the most quietly dominant ball striker in golf. Tommy Fleetwood doesn't headline highlight reels the way the major winners on this list do. No green jacket, no Wanamaker trophy, nothing that gets clipped and shared a million times. But by the numbers, he's been arguably the second best player alive over the past 18 months. And that's not an exaggeration. Signature events, playoff runs, week in, week out, top 10s. Fleetwood's floor might be higher than anyone else's on this entire list. Go back and check his strokes gained numbers at the biggest events on tour, and he's right there with the very best in the world tournament after tournament. That kind of consistency at the highest level of competition is genuinely rare, and it's the reason he keeps getting mentioned in the same breath as the game's elite, even without a trophy to point to. The one thing missing is still the major championship. Every year the question gets asked, is this the year Fleetwood finally breaks through? And every year he comes agonizingly close without getting it done. Until he closes that gap.
Yeah, he's just pitching it out into the fairway, playing very quickly.
He's a top 10 lock without the headline moment, and honestly, one of the more fascinating storylines in golf right now. Number 6, Justin Rose just will not go away. A 3-time Masters runner-up, Rose was right there again in April, making a back 9 charge that briefly put him in the lead. Before it slipped away in that heartbreaking way Augusta has a habit of delivering, he closed the front 9 with 3 straight birdies on Sunday to briefly grab a 2-stroke advantage. And for a few holes, it genuinely looked like this might finally be his year at Augusta National. It wasn't. A couple of costly mistakes on the back 9 dropped him back into the pack. But the fact that we're still talking about Rose contending at major championships says everything about how well he continues to play the biggest moments in golf. He's one of the most experienced closers in the game, a former world number 1 and Olympic gold medalist, and at an age when a lot of great players start fading into the second tier, Rose is still finding ways to be in the final group on Sunday at the events that matter most. That kind of big game composure doesn't disappear, and it's exactly why he remains one of the most respected and most dangerous veterans in the sport. At number 5, if you're not a hardcore golf fan, Russell Henley's rise this year might be the biggest surprise on this entire list. No flashy driver stats, no viral moments, no clips of 330-yard bombs going around social media, just relentless, precise golf that's quietly put him inside the world's top 5. Henley's game is built on avoiding mistakes rather than making highlight reel plays. And in a year full of chaos at the top of leaderboards, 6-shot collapses, hostile crowds, first-time major winners coming out of nowhere, that kind of boring, steady fairways and greens golf has been worth more than anyone expected. He's not the guy people are talking about at the bar after a tournament, but he's the guy quietly banking points every single week while other players are inconsistent. Sometimes the most underrated skill in golf is simply not beating yourself. And right now, nobody in the world is doing that better than Russell Henley. Number 4, Matt Fitzpatrick has rebuilt himself into an elite, complete golfer. His iron play has always been elite. Remember, this is a former U.S. Open champion who's never really lost that surgical, precise approach game. But the improvements everywhere else in his game, particularly off the tee, have turned him into a legitimate top 5 player in the world rather than just a very good iron player who happened to win a major. He hasn't broken through for a marquee 2026 win yet, and that's the one thing keeping him from climbing even higher on this list. But the underlying numbers, strokes gained across the board, consistency inside the top 20 at nearly every big event. Say it's only a matter of time before he adds another signature trophy. With 3 majors already in the books this year and only the Open Championship left, he's running out of chances to add to his major count in 2026 specifically. But make no mistake, this is a player trending in exactly the right direction. And if you're looking for a sleeper pick heading into the year's final major, Fitzpatrick's game is built for exactly that kind of moment. We're into the top 3 now. At number 3, the highest ranked player in the world who's never been world number 1. Cameron Young has that unmistakable combination every fan loves. He hits it an absolute mile, and lately he's finally been finding fairways and greens to match all that power instead of just wild, jaw-dropping bombs that end up in trouble. For years, Young was the guy who made highlight reels for his length off the tee, but couldn't quite turn that power into consistent results. That's changed in 2026. His breakout has genuinely been one of the stories of the season. He's now firmly established as a top 3 player on the planet, according to the rankings, which is a stunning jump for a guy who, not that long ago, was known mostly as a runner-up machine without a marquee win to his name. He hasn't broken through for a major title yet, and that's really the only box left to check. But watching him combine that power with newfound precision has been one of the most exciting developments in golf this year. If 2026 has a true arrival story, a player fully stepping into the identity everyone always suspected he had, it might be his. Number 2, let's talk about history. Rory McIlroy didn't just win the Masters in 2026. He became the first golfer to win back-to-back green jackets since Tiger Woods did it in 2001 and 2002, joining Jack Nicklaus and Nick Faldo as the only other repeat champions in tournament history. Think about the company that puts him in. This isn't just a great year for McIlroy. It's one of the signature achievements of his entire career, and the way he won it made it even more dramatic. McIlroy blew a record 6-shot lead in Saturday's 3rd round, opening the door for a handful of contenders and looking for a moment like this might turn into one of those Augusta collapses golf fans talk about for years. Then he steadied himself completely on Sunday. He birdied the 12th after stuffing his tee shot to 7 feet, the closest shot by anyone in the field all day, and then followed it up with another birdie on the par 5, 13th, to open up a 3-shot cushion. He had to survive a nervy finish, including a bogey on 18, but he closed it out by a single stroke over a hard-charging Scottie Scheffler, who shot 65 and 68 over the weekend just to make it that close. That's a 7th major championship for McIlroy, and it cements him as the clear second-best golfer alive right now. No argument necessary. The gap to number 1, though, is still enormous, which brings us to, and at number 1, there was never really any suspense here. Scottie Scheffler has now spent well over 150 consecutive weeks, more than 3 straight years, as the number 1 player in the world, and his lead over second place isn't close. Not close at all, actually. We're talking about a gap so large that even a monster season from someone else barely dents it. And here's the wild part. By his own ridiculous standard, 2026 has actually been a quieter year for Scheffler. He finished runner-up to Rory McIlroy at the Masters after a furious final round comeback where he played his final 36 holes in 11 birdies and 0 bogeys, an absurd stretch of golf that still wasn't enough.
And they're going the right direction for him. This should be a fairly simple shot for Scottie Scheffler.
He tied for 14th at the PGA Championship after his putter completely betrayed him at Aronimink in a tournament where he was actually the betting favorite. And he was right there in the final group at the U.S. Open at Shinnecock on his own birthday, no less, before finishing 4 shots behind Wyndham Clark. No major win yet in 2026. For most players, that would be a disappointing season. For Scheffler, it's a quiet year, and he's still, without question, the best golfer on the planet. That says everything about the gap between Scheffler and everyone else right now. Everybody else on this list is chasing him, and even in a year where he hasn't closed out a major, nobody's actually catching him. Until someone knocks him off that perch, this is his list to lose. That's our top 10 through the season's first 3 majors. With the Open Championship still ahead and a FedEx Cup playoff run to come, this list is guaranteed to shuffle before the year's out. Now, I want to hear from you. Who's out of place on this list? Is Scheffler still number 1 with 0 majors this year? Or does McIlroy deserve the top spot after that Masters win? Drop your own top 3 in the comments. I read every single one, and I'll pin the takes I think are right. If this video helped you settle an argument with your buddy, do me a favor and hit that like button. It genuinely helps this video reach more golf fans. And if you want the updated version of this list right after the Open Championship, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, because that ranking is going to change fast. Let me know in the comments who you've got at number 1. See you in the next one.